Hi there. There are many hurting people in the world today who are saying in their hearts, will God give me a spouse or not? And this wondering if is causing many people, or many single people, sadness and pain. People without hope are like a coconut husk upon the sea, being tossed here and there by the wind and that blows. It never settles and is never established. The effect of doubt or lack of assurance is that it causes unnecessary sadness. And as a single Christian, I firmly believe that it is God's will that we can actually ask for Him to have and to know that we should have a Christian companion, friend in our life, a marriage relationship. And there are many people around that say, no, you cannot dictate to God, He has chosen the path for you. But I'm going to bring before you some scriptures that say that God is able to grant us assurance in our hearts that He will provide us a companion, a future spouse, if we believe in His word. So here's some evidence. Case 1, Hannah's sorrow. We read in 1 Samuel chapter 1:7 that Hannah wept and would not eat as her enemy, the other wife, taunted her. And our enemy, that's Satan, does that to people when they do not have any firm foundation of faith. Hannah's life up till then was one of doubts and distress, no real hope, no assurance, no peace, certainly no happiness. It is not God's will for you to be in a state of mind like she was. He wants you to know for sure that He will provide your deepest heart's desire. Receiving assurance. In 1 Samuel 1:17, Hannah received assurance from God via Eli the priest. Now, look at the effect of it. She is now described as being no longer sad. Do you want to be like that? She now has faith. Faith is like that coconut, finally grounded and rooted. It cannot be moved by the waves of doubt. When our enemy says, you're destined and doomed to be single, like it or not, pal, you can say, no, I know what God has promised, and I will wait for His time, or however long that may be. If you dearly ache and long for someone, or long for something that is not sinful, it is very likely that God has put that desire in there, especially if you're living a righteous life. God is a God of compassion and mercy and grace, so why would He only give us things that we do not dearly long for and hope back the things that we really desire and really deeply long for? Let's look at Hezekiah. Hezekiah in chapter 38, Isaiah, we read, God said to Isaiah, go and tell him, that's Hezekiah, he will die and not live. Isaiah is basically saying, Hezekiah, you're going to die, that's the end of the matter, end of story. Hezekiah could have said, oh well, if it's God's will, then so be it. I can't change His mind. But what if you think that you will never have a spouse, yet you deeply ache and weep for such a one? Will you say, oh well, I guess it's not God's will? Or will you say, I am so hurt and so longing for this need, which is a need indeed, I will not give up, I will not give in until I have assurance that God has heard me to the point of granting my request? That's the question. Hezekiah did that. He did just that. He didn't sit back and pine away and sort of kind of accepted that God said he's going to die and that's the end of the matter. He got on his knees and he wept. He prayed to God. He basically said, please, please, Lord, with all his heart, I know I'm not worthy. Please grant me my requests. And then God did this wonderful thing. He replied through Isaiah that He had heard Hezekiah's request and would grant it to him, promising an extra 15 years of life. Now listen here, right? If Hezekiah had not asked, he would have died. God is waiting for you to ask, believe and receive. If you're not ready for her or for him, God knows the best time. He will delay the time of giving. He will use that time to prepare you to be a better spouse for your other half, and also make you a better person for His service. Let's look at another case, the Canaanite woman in Mark chapter 7:26. The Canaanite woman came to Jesus with a request. Basically, Jesus said no, and the disciples told her to go away. Did she give up? No, she didn't give up. She would not give in because it mattered so much to her. She knew how much she longed for this request. It was a real deep cutting stuff. She got her request through her sheer persistence and faith that she showed in Jesus. Jesus always encouraged us to persist and not give up. So listen in. God is a God of mercy. He wants to give you great gifts. You don't have to live your life of sadness and doubt. Your life will be weakened and sad and powerless if that's the case. It's not spiritual to keep saying, "Oh Lord, your will be done," if that's the case. God is saying, prove me, prove my will, and pray something. He's saying, please my child, pray. I want to give you, but I want you to ask. Ask God until you have that deep assurance that God has heard and will answer. If you are not longing enough to persist and pray, you cannot expect to obtain assurance and faith. Ask that your joy may be full. So very simply, the short message simply is this, that God will grant you a precious, precious someone to share your life with if you ask Him and persist and don't give up, because God has said in His word so often, I will give you the desires of your heart if our hearts are right with Him. Don't give up. Don't believe the lies that people say that you cannot know for sure that God will provide, because you can know, because God wants you to give you good things. Ask and you shall receive.